I'm here with Robert outside Enel's Smart Grid Lab in Milan. Robert, at the Enel Focus On event, we just heard about your Network Digital Twin. What are you guys up to?
Well, the Network Digital Twin actually is a model that we are creating of the physical infrastructure, but also adding real-time data, information about what is going on in our grids and in the environment. And this builds up a huge data lake on which we then apply artificial intelligence, and we feed this information also back to our people using augmented reality, virtual reality, and other type of new human interface technologies. So all of this at the end is creating a digital ecosystem that helps us internally to better manage our grids, and on the other side also is creating an ecosystem that helps to engage others around.
Now, many folks in the energy industry will be familiar with the digital twin. It's been a buzzword for the last couple of years. And typically people would look at it and it's a single device, or it's a turbine.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are, this is the grid, so you're doing a digital twin of the entire network.
The entire network, yes, that's I think the key distinction among those models that you're mentioning. That you're right, in the industry there are digital twins of single devices, machines and so on, and but here we are bringing all of this together to manage the whole ecosystem, the whole infrastructure, everything that all our processes and what people are doing. Bringing this together is building this huge machine. We speak here about petabytes and petabytes of data, and that's what we call the Network Digital Twin.
Because you're collecting data from, obviously you've got let's say what we call it, the IoT. You've put IoT technology into the grid, into substations. You've got your workers walking around with LiDAR and 360 cameras. You've got LiDAR on vehicles. You're doing LiDAR scans inside in buildings. You've drones. You're collecting, as you say, a massive amount of data. And the first live version of this is in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, well, right now experimenting this in Sao Paulo, which is the first network digital twin in a mega city, because we are actually starting from a complete digitalization of a district, which is called Vila Olympia in Sao Paulo.
Okay.
Which actually, by digitalizing our infrastructure through the technologies that you mentioned, through LiDAR, through also geo-radar scans underground, we basically build the whole model of the city, and this is valuable data for us, but also for the city, for the municipalities. And adding on this, of course, information that comes from smart meters, from smart grid in devices that we have in our grids, also IoT sensors. All of this data together creates this huge data lake with real-time information, and that's I think the really distinctive issue here.
That is different. And upstairs we just got a demo of a mixed reality environment where you're standing around a mixed reality representation of the grid. So using the data from that data lake, and then I could be in Rome, you could be in somewhere else,
wherever you want,
and we can be working on the same grid.
Exactly, and this helps actually also our operators, because they are in the field and they have real-time access to all that information. And they can have remote assistance, of course, as well. They can have even on-site training in certain moments, or help assistance if they find themselves with a configuration that is not so common maybe, and they can ask, hey, how was that? And they can have real-time access to that information. By the way, we also do virtual reality for the training. And this is also something really great in terms of safety for our people. Yes, you know, as a grid operator, yes, right? It's a dangerous environment, and you can actually, in a virtual world, you can simulate scenarios that you would not like to put the people in risk, let's say in the real world. But being trained in this virtual environment actually completely substitutes a big part of this engagement of this, let's say, really internalization of the procedures, the right safety procedures, and the feeling of how to act.
So if there is an issue when they have to respond, I've been here before.
Yes, okay. Exactly, and that's the feeling they get. Yes.
And so one last question.
Sure.
I've heard of 4D, 3D. You're talking about 6D.
Yes.
What's 6D?
Okay, yes, our network digital twin, in fact, we speak about 6D because on top of the 3 dimensions, the geographical dimensions, we add the time, we add the cost, and all the documentation of every single document. So, and for every single
okay.
element. So it's the 3 dimensions, time, cost, and the technical documentation
Added on
associated
top.
on top. And all of this in this huge data lake of our network digital twin. And for sure, combining that information, which is much more than just looking at the physical world.
Yeah, and I've seen downstairs here you can do simulations on all this then as well. So
Yeah.
what happens if something breaks?
You can foresee, you can do predictive maintenance, you can apply AI on that, you can do, there's so many things, and many things, it's a journey also. I mean, of course, we started that journey, we are implementing it, but we will learn much more, we continue to implement more and more things over the years.
No, it's impressive, good stuff. Hey,
thank
and
you.
we'll see you at European Utility Week in a couple of weeks.
Yes, for sure. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Good seeing you.